Raj, thanks for being with us here today at the summit. It's an interesting time for me because we hosted the summit, the first summit back in 2014. There were 28 of us CROs at the time. Today we have 80 CROs, we have 100 cities. It has expanded. We have almost 500 people here today. What's your take on being here today and experiencing what we're looking at?
What's exciting for me is just getting to see people from so many different walks of life together. You know, you have people representing infrastructure companies and insurance industry enterprises, and you have city leaders such as yourselves that are so committed to doing this work practically on the ground. You have financiers and sources of capital to implement projects, and technology partners who are part of the solution development. So it is just a unique coming together of those types of people from almost every continent on the planet. Yep. And from so many diverse types of cities. And that feels appropriate and exciting because the challenge is solve big problems that make life better for so many millions of people. One thing I've observed is that the quality and leadership of our chief resilience officers really is everything when it comes to this effort being successful. So in the role, what are you most proud of having accomplished?
One of the biggest things that we did through this process was to connect this sort of urban water management concept that had been talked about in New Orleans for a long time, move it towards actual finance to get the projects sort of underway, but add in the piece about the economy and how do we get the people in New Orleans who are jobless or are underemployed into training programs so that they will be implementing these urban water projects in the future, so that we can connect many of these problems together looking through the resilience lens. If we had not done the work this way, they would still be separated and apart. So for us, being able to really move forward on innovative water management projects, but connecting it to the most vulnerable populations who need jobs and need the quality of life and need the reduced flooding in their neighborhood is really transformational for us. So we started with one area of the city, which you were able to visit, and that's going to impact 50,000 people in that neighborhood. And that, for me, is what I'm most proud of, being able, through this program, to accelerate work that was sort of somewhat underway and somewhat not connected to the entire spectrum into something that's going to be more long-lasting with multiple benefits.
That's great. I loved visiting those projects and seeing how, in those neighborhoods, people were so excited because, right. Yes, they were getting a water management project, but to them, they were getting a park.
That's right.
And they were excited. So what's tough about the job?
By its very nature, it's disruptive. And being able to bring along other departments outside the city with that vision is not the easiest thing to do. So there's some things that we've learned how to do. How do we use the platform partners, for example, to accelerate and provide resources to other departments to bring them into the fold? How do we show that the work that we're doing can continue to support some of the ideas that some of these departments have had on the drawing boards for a while? I think you have to there's a sort of the strong piece of this where the mayor's behind you and is advising other departments and pushing them to be a part of the work. But there's also the part of it that there's a lot that a CRO can provide to other departments to coordinate and move the work forward. So I think that sort of integrated approach is what works. I think what doesn't work is coming in and saying, here's our new strategy, this is what we're going to do, and just think and accept that people are going to follow. That's not going to happen. What do you think the role of 100RC and the Rockefeller Foundation is in sort of supporting cities to be able to continue that work where cities can lead in spite of what's going on in sovereign nations and other things?
Well, I think Rockefeller has to play a really big role in taking this forward by bringing together public sector leaders, companies, technology firms, investors, financiers. We can help be a platform that helps bring people together and gets work done on behalf of the most vulnerable people. I think we also have to be the folks who are a little bit hard-nosed about, are we delivering real results? Yep. Because you're held accountable as a deputy mayor in New Orleans to, are you delivering for the people you serve? Right. And that ultimately is, I know, what gets you out of bed every day. It's kind of what gets us out of bed every day. And we all got to get good at saying, okay, we're measuring that carefully. We know we're delivering outcomes. Here are the results we're delivering. And where we're falling short, we're going to do better. That's kind of our commitment to this effort. And so we'll stand behind it for a long time into the future. and we'll stand behind it with that absolute focus on making lives better for people who live in our cities.
Well, Raj, thanks so much for the partnership.
Thank you.